This is deck assignment part 4, the railings and posts. Now first things first, if you look in the EDSB post for this assignment, you will find, yes, the PDF file, which has the instructions that we're looking at now. You'll find the link to the YouTube channel with the video on how to create this drawing. You'll also find an SKP file. I would ask you to download that to your computer, into your downloads folder, then go into SketchUp and go to import and import it from your device, and it will be right here. So that's our post. Otherwise you would have to go over here and trim that post. So this post is perfectly to size, and we're going to start with that. Now before you get too far, what you might need to do is more or less figure out one of two things. You probably up to this point should know, but one of these sides is your house. So I'm going to go with this long side here. That's where the house is. The other thing you have to figure out is where the stairs is going to go. Okay. I'm going to go with this here. Now what that means is we're not going to put any railings here, okay? So now also with the house being here, depending on how large the house you want it to be, you might have the option to only put one railing on, but for demonstration purposes, we're going to put on 2 railings. Okay, so let's start with our railing. Let's go over here and we're going to grab the railing, or grab the post I should say. And let's put the post. Okay. We're going to start putting posts in corners. Okay. Just like so. And so that means our stairs will fit right in here. So this isn't necessarily a corner, but it essentially is the corner of the lower level. So we're putting a post down there. Like so. Okay. Put one there. Now what some people do here is, instead of having them touch, some people just move one of them in a little bit, like so. That's fine. Either way is correct, and you will not lose marks either way. Let's go over here. Click. Take a peek at that, make sure it's okay. Okay. Now we're going to go over here to this corner. So for now we're just doing the corners. I will refer to the instructions shortly. And we'll just space this out right here. You could make them touch. If you did, it would still be right. Okay, now we've got our posts in all the corners on the exterior. You're not putting any posts in there. So let's go back to our instructions. So let's just, we're using our posts, okay, and they're going to be spaced approximately 8 feet apart. Okay, good example here. It's like 8 and 2 inches. So as close to 8 feet as you can get. So what that means is we're going to grab our tape measure and we'll go here to here. Okay, so that's 15 feet and change. So 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. So we won't worry too much about the other stuff. So if you want, what we can do is just go keep the math easy. And we'll go, that's 7.5 feet, because that is half of 15. Okay. And let's just grab that by the middle. And there's our mark. Same thing here. Let's grab a tape. Get a rough idea. And we got about 14 and change. So let's grab our tape measure once again. Won't worry about the change. And let's just go 14 divided by 2 is 7 feet. Okay. Okay, let's make this blue. Grab it by the midpoint and drop it off at the mark. Okay, let's get our tape measure here. And we'll figure out what's going on at the lower level. That's 9 feet. I'm going to put a board in the middle. Okay, let's go. We'll go 4.5. 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. 4.5 feet. There we go. And we'll double check this one. Same thing. Let's just go 4.7 feet. This one. That's more or less just a guesstimate. Let's make that blue. Okay, grab that by the midpoint. Oops. Yeah, we'll stick that there. Okay. Okay, so we've got our posts in place. Let's go back to our instructions. And we're going to be putting the railings on. And those railings are going to be 2x4s, which measure 1.5 by 3.5. Let's go over to our lumber pile. And let's grab some 2x4s. Okay, we'll grab this one here. And let's just... Now, the instructions, I believe, had you... We're just going to go with one board, and we're going to extend it. Yes. Okay. Once again, as I mentioned in previous deck assignments, we're not going to go to the laborious task of using each little piece of wood, cutting it up. That's not something we're going to do. We're going to allow the people that make this deck to worry about how they partition the lumber. So, Okay, let's just bring this over. Make that unique before we forget. Spin that 90. Okay, let's drop this off over here. Now some people get fancy and they join these two boards with 45 degree. If that's something you want to get into, by all means, feel free to do so. I'm not gonna make you do something like that. We'll just like this, and we're gonna touch that board like so. Okay. Let's trim this board over here. Now let's take the board up from up here. We'll bring this over. Put it on top of there. Let's see. Make this one blue. Okay. Let's see. Let's make this unique. Before I forget, I should have made that one unique as well. Okay. Let's spin this one around 90 degrees. Just like so. Okay. Grab this board. Okay. I'll stick that right there. Like so. Okay. Let's trim this board up. Let's edit that component. Okay. Reminder, the stairs are going there, so just leave that for now. Okay, let's push this back. And there we go. Okay, so the top railing is done. Okay, so let's now take a look at our instructions. And let's look here. We'll scroll up. Okay. Let's zoom into this. And the bottom of this board is going to start 4 inches from the top of that deck board. So let's just go over here. We'll get our measuring tape out. So let's go up 4 inches from that intersection point. We're going to type in 4 inches. And we will have our mark right there. Okay. Let's go grab a 2x4 once again. I'm going to grab the short one this time, just because we're dealing with spaces that should be around 8 feet. So that's the 8 feet's the length of the shortest one. Okay, so let's spin this around 90 degrees. And let's grab this by the corner. I'll make it unique as soon as I drop it off. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Let's make that unique. Let's edit this component. And let's push this over. And touch there. Now you have to decide, are you going to use the tape measure on each post for each space, or do you want to use a construction line? I've already shown how to do the tape measure. What you could do is you can make a temporary line on the inside. It's up to you. Some might argue that the time you spend erasing it kind of negates the time that you would save. So I'm going to stick with the tape measure technique. Okay. Let's bring this over here. And we're going to make that unique. Edit that unique component. Let's go 4 inches up and enter. Okay. Let's grab this board. We're going to copy that. Okay. Okay. Now, once in a while, I see people hand it in with the board, kind of like going through this post. Please don't do that. If you do, you will lose marks. Okay. Let's go here. Don't quite know what was going on there. Let's see. We'll redo that. 4 inches. There we go. Let's just mark these two. Go 4 inches up. Okay. Save us the time of turning the board 90. We'll grab one of these that are already in the correct direction. Okay. Okay, let's grab that by the bottom. There we go. I can edit that. Let's make this one unique and edit that unique component. And let's just draw a line this time. And let's see if we can push this out of the way. We can. There we go. Okay, so we've got both the top and the bottom railing. Let's see now for in here. We're going to have to put a little something something in there, just because that is a space. So let's go up here, 4 inches. Let's grab this board like so. And let's see. Okay, we'll make that unique. And we're going to edit that little piece off the edge. Like so. I like that. That'll work. And one more over here. Go. Looks right. Okay. Let's make that unique. Edit that component. Let's push this one back to there. Okay. We have the top and bottom railing done. Okay, let's go back over. Now we've got our banisters, which are going to have a diameter of 1 inch, and that means they have a radius of 0.5 or 1/2. And this is calling out for a spacing of approximately, it's 2 11/16, but we're not going to get too picky with the spacing, so if you want to call it 3 inches, you can call it 3 inches. Okay, so let's just create that component. Unfortunately, that component is not included. My apologies. So we're just going to make this 0.5 radius, because SketchUp asks for radius, which is half 4 feet. And there we go. And let's see, 4 feet. There we go. Yes, SketchUp asks for radius, which is half diameter. Okay, so make that into a component. Okay, now what we're going to do is, before we get too far, we're going to go midpoint here. Okay. Let's get that started. If you want, you can go, okay, we can go here and then go, oh, let's go 3 inches. Okay, and then we can go over to our banister, which is what the circle is called. It is a banister, so let's grab it by the midpoint, and we're gonna go about here. Let's go here. Okay. And let's see, before we get too far, let's trim this thing just so that everything's copacetic. Let's push this thing down, and we'll make it even with that top rail. Don't need to worry about sizes. Okay, so spacing was going to be 2 and 11/16, or if you want, you can go 3 inches just to keep your math nice and simple. So here's what I'm going to try and do. We're going to go like so. We're going to go 3 inches. Okay. I'm going to go X. This deck is 16 feet. Let's try 16. Enter. Just to see what kind of spacing we get. Obviously, we need a heck of a lot more than that. Okay. So, let's go here. Let's light this up blue. Okay, we're going to go 3 inches. X, 50. I'm going to guess 50 this time. Let's see. That's a pretty good guess. Okay. Okay, so let's erase the ones that are not needed. Okay. That looks good there. Let's see. That one's kind of going into the board. Well, we don't want that, so we can get rid of this one. And there we go. And let's get rid of this line, just for aesthetic purposes. There we go. Now it's one technique. You do the whole line, or if you want, you could just go here, go 3 inches. And then we could go over here. We could grab one of our banisters, and we'll copy that over. And let's put it there. And then we're going to move it over. We're going to go 3 inches. And let's go X 50. I'm sure this time it'll be way too much. Okay, before I forget, let's get rid of that line. Oh no, okay. Not for sure it'd be too many, but okay, so 3 inches and X. Let's go 13. Enter. Okay. Let's erase the ones that we don't need. Okay. And there's a post here. That's definitely something that we don't need to have happen. Okay, so let's go down here. And we'll put our little line in there. Go 3 inches. Okay, let's grab a banister. And let's drop it off here. And let's go, let's see, we're going to go 3 inches once again. X, let's try 60 this time. Well, I certainly overguessed that time. Okay. Although this one's got a pretty big space, so I think I'm going to leave these two. Okay. That's got barely enough room for one. So if you wanted, just to kind of keep aesthetics, you could grab one. Just kind of go like so, and there you go. Depends how fancy you want to get. Okay, let's do this one here. Midpoint 3 inches. Okay. Drops that off there. Let's erase that line before we get too far and forget. Okay, so we're going to go 3 inches and go X. Let's go 30 this time. Okay, got close. So go 3 inches, X 10. Okay, perfect, just about. And let's get rid of this one that's inside the board. And we just double check all our stuff. And that is it for the railing and posts.